boy who had no home to live in. There was no food to eat, whose father's business was ruined, and he died due to being in debt later on. This boy makes the world's most expensive car, due to which even kings and princes line up to buy it. At the age of just 4 years, this boy had to work as a laborer in the fields to earn his living, and his mother separated him from him and said, "I can't keep you with me. I don't have any money. I have a lot of debt." This boy was never able to study in school, nor could he ever go to college, but later on, he not only made complex engine designs, but also made airplane engines and surprised the whole world. We are talking about Rolls-Royce founder Sir Frederick Henry Royce. The company was started with just 2,000 Indian rupees, and today the market value of this company is more than 400,000 crores. Even today, the price of this car is more than 200 crores, and in that amount, one can buy 50 shiny Lamborghinis, and the question arises that Henry did engineering, so he never even studied in school. How did they go on to create airplane engines, and what kind of genius partner did he find in this journey? He changed not only Rolls-Royce, but the entire car industry. Henry was born on March 27, 1863, in a small village in England, and was the eldest of 5 siblings. Henry's father, James, had a small flour mill which he had rented out for a few years. But Henry's father did not have much understanding of business, due to which his small business was not running well, and he was incurring losses in it. So in 1867, when Henry was just 4 years old, his father James was bank corrupt, and he had to close his flour mill, after which his entire family moved to London in search of work. The condition of Henry and his family in London was very bad. They had a debt of lakhs of rupees, and to run their house, Henry and all his brothers and sisters had to start working at a very young age. When Henry was 4 years old, his parents took him out of school and sent him to work with a rich neighbor, where Henry used to drive away the birds in the fields of his neighbor, for which he used to get only 6 rupees. Even for many days, Henry and his brothers and sisters had to sleep without eating anything. And after a few years, when their conditions started improving, Henry developed another hobby. In 1972, when Henry was only 9 years old, his debt-ridden father James died. Harry wanted to study again, but now he had no option. 9-year-old Henry had to look for work again, and to support his family, he started delivering newspapers and letters. There were many times when Harry did not even get anything to eat, due to which Harry became very weak and so thin that he looked like a skeleton, due to which he suffered from many diseases. But Henry's problems were not getting better. Henry's mother Mary still had a debt of lakhs of rupees, and on top of this she had to raise Henry and his 4 siblings, which was very difficult for her, due to which Mary took a decision that was going to stay in Harry's mind for the rest of his life. Henry's mother was so helpless that she called Henry and told him, "Son, I cannot keep you with me anymore. I have a lot of debt. I will have to keep you away from me." This shocked Harry, but saying this, Mary sent Henry to an old couple who wanted to keep children like Henry with them. But this old couple also did not have much money, and here also, in many ways, Henry used to get only milk and some bread in the name of food every day. Henry also had to leave from here, and at night he used to think that if I have to change my life, then I have to earn some money by doing a job. So in 1878, at the age of only 15, he came to his aunt, and after borrowing some money from her, he started taking training in Great Northern Railway works. But Harry still did not have any house to live. He went back to his aunt and he said, "Auntie, can I stay here with you?" To this his aunt said, "Look, I have already given you so much money. I cannot afford to keep you here anymore." After a few days of this, they met a man named George, whose son Havelock was training with Henry. George said to Henry, "Why don't you shift with us to my house? I have a workshop in my house. You can also do your training." Henry now used to work during the day, and in the night with George, he used to learn about many new engines and tools, which were going to be very useful for him in the future. Everything was going well, yet another problem came in front of Henry. In the 3rd year of training, all the money that his aunt had given to Henry was finished. He asked for help from many people, but no one helped him. And in Filey railway work, he had stopped his training. At the age of 70, Henry got a job in an electric light and park company. Here he was paid 1 rupee for working. Still, Henry's focus was only on learning new things. Whenever he got time, he would read some books. He would read Mandarin, French, and even study engineering. He was so dedicated to his new job that he would work so hard that he would forget to eat. And after his work, he would save his money and attend electric engineering classes till late so that he could learn something new. Finally, Henry's dedication and his attitude of constantly learning new skills impressed his boss. His boss called Henry and said, "Henry, we are very happy with your work and dedication. We have decided to send you to the Liverpool office as a chief engineer." In 1882, at the age of just 19, Henry got promoted and his career was going well. But just 2 years later, an auto rickshaw came into Henry's life. In 1884, the company where Henry was working collapsed and the bank sealed all its offices. Henry was now jobless again, but this time he took a big decision. "I don't want to do any job now. I will use my engineering knowledge and start a big business of my own." Henry called his colleague and friend Claremont and asked him, "How much savings do you have?" Claremont, "Only some 5,000 rupees. "Okay, I have 2,000 rupees. We will start our new business with this." In 1884, Henry and Claremont started F.H. Royce and Company in Manchester with just 7,000 rupees, which made engineering tools. They rented a shop in Manchester, above which there was a small room in which both of them lived. They had invested their entire life savings in this business. And in the beginning, for many days, every day they would heat sandwiches in an old stove and eat them. But Henry was very hardworking, and in just a few months, he made an electric doorbell which was liked by the people in the market. Now Henry had some money, and he decided that he will make bigger things. For example, after the doorbell, he made an electric generator, and by 1994, he became so successful that his company started making electric granaries. While in 1994, Harry started with just 7,000 rupees. After just 14 years, Henry was doing a business of 20 lakh rupees every year, and his company had accumulated 30 lakh rupees. Henry had become rich now, but he wanted to make it big. By this time, the first petrol-powered car had come in the market, and Henry's engineering mind became very interested in it. In 1901, Henry bought his first car, named D-Dyer. As soon as Harry brought it home, it did not start again. The next day, Henry started repairing it. After opening the car, Henry did not like its design, so using his skills, he opened the whole car with paper and rebuilt it. He also upgraded its engine, but this car was so bad that even after so much hard work, it was not meeting Harry's expectations. Henry left the car there and said to himself that instead of breaking this poor car, it is better that I will make my own car which will be the best in the world. When Henry told this idea to his colleague, he started laughing and said to Harry, "What is Henry doing with his car? Why would he leave a good business and get into some other business?" But it did not matter to Henry. His next target was only the car. Harry did not realize then that his decision would change the entire car industry forever, and that his car would later become a status symbol for which even kings would line up. Henry's first target was to make his own car engine, and after just 2 years, in 1903, Henry made his own petrol engine. People wondered how this man who had never gone to school was making car engines, leaving behind big engineers. But Harry's dedication was at a different level, and after just 1 year of making car engines, in 1904, Henry made his own car in a small corner of his workshop, which was better than any car in the market at that time, and he named it Royce 10. Henry made 3 models of Royce 10, out of which he kept one with himself and the other he gave to his partner. He gave this car to Taylor Mont, and he sold the third car to a businessman, Henry Edmonds. Henry Edmonds liked this Royce car so much that he showed this car to one of his friends, Charles Rolls, who said that he wanted to have a meeting with the person who made this car. This meeting was the most important meeting of the entire car industry. Charles's story was completely opposite to Harry's. He was born in 1877 in London in a very rich and prosperous family. Like Henry, Charles also had a lot of interest in engines. He used to open all the engines of the house since childhood, and he himself became so dirty in this that his friends called him Dirty Rolls. Due to this interest of Charles, his parents sent him to the world's top engineering college's university, from where Charles studied mechanical engineering. Here Charles became so interested in cars. The industry became such that in 1896, at just the age of 1896, he went to France by himself and bought a car named Phaeton. In fact, Charles went upstairs, was a car buyer from England, and he was so interested in cars that in 1903, C.S. Rolls opened his own car dealership in the name of Rolls and Company on May 4th, 1904 in Filey. 2 legends of the car industry, Henry Royce and Charles Rolls, had a meeting. Everyone thought that on one hand, Harry, who lived in poverty, never went to school, and Charles, who was from one of the richest families in the world, had studied in the best colleges. There can be no partnership between these two. But in this meeting, a very interesting thing happened. Charles took Henry's car for a test ride, and he liked this car so much that he came back and told Henry that I want to partner with you. You make as many Royce 10 cars as you can and send them to me. I will make all the cars and sell them further. In fact, Charles himself went back to his home in London after selling Royce 10, and he liked this car so much that after reaching London at night, Charles went straight to his best friend's house, and literally at night, he got a ride from his friend's house. He woke him up and said, "Get up quickly. I have found the world's best motor engineer." Finally, in 1906, both of them together started their own company named Rolls-Royce Limited, and this car was going to become the world's best car company in just 2 years. Henry, along with Charles, installed the world's most perfect and stable engine in it. To prove how stable the engine was, they kept a glass of water on the car's engine and drove it for a long distance at full speed, and when the car stopped, everyone was shocked because not even a single drop of water fell out of the glass. After this incident, this car was declared the world's best car. In 1907, due to its design and reliability, it received many awards, and even kings and princes started lining up to buy this car. But Henry still had the passion of childhood in his heart, and he was still making Rolls-Royce even better. He had this habit since the beginning. Just keep pushing your limits, and even after being so successful, he was working so much that many times he would skip dinner and would ignore his bad health. Henry's focus was always on best engineering and designing. He even said that whatever work you do, you should aim to achieve perfection in it, and if something from Avon is already the best, then keep working on it and make it even better. In fact, Rolls-Royce still follows this principal of Harry, and it takes 6 months to make one Avon Rolls-Royce car, and the most shocking thing is that today there is only one person in the whole world who hand paints the pinstripes on Rolls-Royce cars. By 1921, Rolls-Royce's brain increased so much because the waiting period for delivery was going on for 3 years. Everything was going well when Henry's partner Charles, another treasurer, was also very fond of the Carnivala aeroplane. He had even bought a plane to get into aviation and had flown it more than 200 times. Charles became the first person in England to cross the English Channel in 1910. He had suggested Henry to take up aviation, but Henry was not ready for it. Henry was thinking more about it when he got a working luge. In 1910 itself, Charles's plane crashed in an air show, and after this Henry did not leave his principles behind. He always made perfection his base and never thought of anything else. This was Henry's working principle. Henry had decided that he would work with Charles. He fulfilled his dream of making an airplane engine, and in 1915, during the World War, he made the Rolls-Royce Eagle engine, which was one of the best airplane engines of the world at that time, and it never failed in any test or operation. In 1928, he made the airplane engine, and this engine made a world record of running at 655 kilometers. Henry was working continuously, but his habit of never stopping made him sick. In the beginning of 1930, he built the legendary Merlin engine, but by now Harry was almost on his deathbed. Sadly, Harry died in 1933 after a few months of making the Merlin engine, but at his last time, Henry was so dedicated that just a few hours before his death, he was making a sketch of his car hobby architect, and just a few hours before that he called his secretary Oban and asked him to bring this sketch from the factory to me. Please take the workers safely. Today, Rolls-Royce is one of the most famous car companies in the world. Today, one such car of theirs sells for 200 to 200 rupees crores, and it has always been a dream car for many people, and it all started with the story of a poor child who had to work at the age of 4, who never even went to school, but who always believed that success can be achieved through perfection and hard work.
Subscribe for more interesting videos and press the bell icon. Thank you for watching this video.